Still no word on if Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be able to go. Last we heard, he was undergoing concussion tests, still in the protocol. So for the time being, it is assumed that Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback for the Browns Sunday at 4 against the Rams. Could change if DTR can get out of the protocol. Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt talked about Flacco's strength as a quarterback and also what he has left in the tank.
I think there's still a lot left in that tank. Again, yesterday would solidify that for me, just watching him, the accuracy and the velocity, the footwork, and everything that he showed yesterday. Yeah, well, he's an elite arm. There's no question. If you put it on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd say he's a 5. His ball flight, his velocity on the ball, at every level of the field is very impressive. But guys got excited. He threw some balls against the scout team last week, and the guys in the back were kind of fired up.
The other thing about Flacco is he's not the most mobile guy, and yet his whole career, his sack totals have been relatively low. How does he do it?
I think as the mentality of playing on time, working through progressions quickly, taking checkdowns, areas like that, those are things that'll help him eliminate or avoid sacks. So I think he understands that about himself. He's really self-aware of who he is as a player through our conversations this week. But his decision-making and his the ability to get the ball out of his hands will help.
With that, let's welcome in Quincy Carrier, Untitled, Unfiltered Browns coverage. So, Quincy, again, we're awaiting word to see if DTR can get out of the protocol. You would kind of be shocked. And at some point, Browns have to start crafting a game plan for Joe Flacco.
Well, the good news is that Joe Flacco and DTR, when it comes to how they play the actual quarterback position, play it very similar. You look at the time to throw for both of those quarterbacks, they are very similar in that sense. When they're in the pocket, they play the game inside out, short to deep, being on time, getting the ball out quickly. That's where Joe Flacco thrives. That's the same area where DTR thrives, and that's why he's a better fit to be a backup for DTR than like a PJ Walker, who plays more of that, kind of outside of the structure of the offense kind of style that we're used to with Deshaun Watson. But that's the good thing when it comes to Joe Flacco stepping in. It won't really be that much of a change. I know people see the difference in athleticism from Joe Flacco and DTR and assume that there's a great change in the style that they play quarterback, but DTR and Joe Flacco are more similar in the pocket than they are not alike.
Yeah, that's fair. The one thing is, and Tony Grossi in that question kind of addressed it. He is not mobile, but hasn't taken a lot of sacks. The other thing is, people want to point to the last few games with the Jets. Were not good. This offense very different. The Jets' offensive line not nearly as good, particularly when you're talking the interior, center and the 2 guards. Those are the things you need to stand up if you're going to have Joe Flacco play effective quarterback.
Yeah, and you're not asking Joe Flacco to play hero ball, right? Like, you're not asking him to throw deep 5 times, 8 times down the field and make 6 of them. You're just not asking of him this week. You're just asking Joe Flacco to be Jacoby Brissett, to be a backup level quarterback, and I think that's a role that he can fill quite fine. And I think that's the thing that people miss when they look at the Browns and what they've been able to do with backup quarterbacks. It's not that they're able to magically make these quarterbacks much better, but they are able to put these quarterbacks in situations where we're not asking too much of them.
That's called good coaching. Go figure.